So, Chad Gable returned last night from one of the hottest WWE stories in years, and maybe the best WWE match of all time in the Grande Americano versus OG Grande Americano in AAA about a week ago. And now that he was forced to take off the mask, Chad Gable returned in a wasted segment. Let's be honest here, people. You have one of the hottest wrestlers right now, and he just returns in a nothing segment backstage? I mean, the crowd did pop, but could you have imagined if we had opened the show and Chad Gable's music hit and he just walked out? That place would have erupted. Or what if Gunther and Cody Rhodes was like yelling at each other, and then Sammy came out and he's like, I want to be in this match too, but then Chad Gable's music hits. Chad Gable walks. He has that stare down with Sami Zayn as he walks into the ring. Sammy doesn't know what to do, and then Chad Gable's like, all right, guys, when you figure out what you're going to do, I've got next. And then he just drops the mic and walks back. Like, holy cow, we just spent about 18 months making Chad Gable, and it's all about what we do next with him. It's all about what we do next with him. If we would have let him be in that opening segment, I'm telling you, it would have been a huge freaking deal, but he's backstage, a backstage segment. Why would we do that? Why would he do that? Why would he go up and apologize? Why would he go up and apologize? I don't know, people. I'm telling you, they wasted a huge opportunity last night, but let's get to some hot takes and see what you have to say. You got Jimbo Slice saying Chad Gable's redemption arc should lead to a hometown IC win in his hometown of SummerSlam. I wouldn't mind that. I wouldn't mind that at all. But my fear is this. We're going to have a very respectful feud between Penta and Chad Gable. I do not want respect at all. I do not want face versus face when it comes to Chad Gable. That Grande Americano match was so good because they hated each other. That was a war. They did not like each other one bit. Let's learn from that. Don't have Chad Gable going up to every luchador and apologizing and then go for the IC title. That's so lame. That's so lame. This is wrestling. Have them hate each other. He should not have gone up to Phoenix last night and said, hey, man, I'm sorry. Gee golly. So instead of just complaining, I'm going to give you, Triple H, two paths for Chad Gable right now. One is a babyface and one is a heel. Feel free to steal either of these ideas. But first, I want to get this belt off my shoulder and get it in your hands. You see, people, at 30,000 subscribers, I'm going to give away a belt. All you got to do to win it is comment below and subscribe to the channel. That's it. I'll ship it anywhere in the world. It's not a toy. It's a replica, and it could be yours. All right, so the first path is this. We have Chad Gable go to Penta. He apologizes and then blindsides him. I know Lucha Libre now. I'm going to destroy Lucha Libre now. And Penta and Chad Gable, they go to SummerSlam, and it's for the IC title. Chad wins. This is the belt that has eluded him, and now he is the champion, right? But he still has a vendetta, and so each month, we have Chad Gable defending the title in a 1-month program against all the luchadors of WWE. That gives everybody a shine, and Chad Gable a very big story. So the first month could be Dragon Lee. Second month could be Rey Fenix. Third month could be Axiom. Fourth month could be just the LWO in general, the tag team. Fifth month, we have, finally, Rey Mysterio steps up to the plate. And now, that takes us all the way to, the Royal Rumble? And then, Chad Gable even beats Rey Mysterio. If Dirty Dom turns face, we could probably do something there, but I would kind of rather just leave Dirty Dom out of this. Finally, after he beats Rey Mysterio, Chad Gable's like, well, there it is. I won my war against luchadors. And then El Grande Americano himself, his music hits, and he says, you have not beat all the luchadors, and we've kept these two apart since their last match, and now we're starting to go into WrestleMania season. We have a rematch right there, El Grande Americano versus Chad Gable. I'm telling you, that would be a huge freaking marquee match. Put it at WrestleMania. Boom. After that, he can go for world titles. He'll be bumped up into the main event scene. Or we give him a face run right now. Let's say we just want to turn him face. Fine, whatever. He becomes a babyface. Let Gunther win. Let Gunther beat Cody Rhodes in 2 weeks for the championship. Then let him beat Sami Zayn. Fine, whatever. But then you let Chad Gable step up to Gunther. Whoever wins the King of the Ring, they choose Roman Reigns, okay? And Chad Gable goes to Gunther for a random SmackDown. You have that match as your first match. You put Gunther versus Chad Gable right away, right? And Chad Gable wins. Chad Gable will win on the first match of the night. That would shock people, right? But we're going to kind of do the Triple H Chris Jericho thing from way back in the day. Gunther, he gets his lawyers, which is something that he's been doing lately. He gets his lawyers to say, yeah, this was not fair. This was not fair. Something happened. Something happened. There were some shenanigans, and maybe Cody Rhodes helped Chad Gable win, and so Gunther's just freaking out. And then so they have a rematch at the end of the night, and then Gunther wins the title back. Then for a 2-hour time frame, Chad Gable can have the title. And I'm telling you, it's just unpredictable. It would be insanely unpredictable. And then they can continue their feud where Chad Gable will actually win it a month or two later on a big PLE. I would love to do it at SummerSlam. And then he holds it. He holds it for a good 3 months. Like, we gotta capitalize on this Chad Gable Grande Americano story. We got a chance to make Chad Gable an instant main eventer. Or do you think we should just do him and Sami Zayn until he completely cools off and then we go back to seeing Chad Gable on maybe main event? Which of the 3 options do you like? All right, let's do some more hot takes. Errol Noir says Raquel is an absolute treasure. They should put the world title on her already. She completely carried that fatal 4-way. I don't know if I would say she carried it. I think everybody did a pretty good job in that fatal 4-way, but I was very happy that Raquel Rodriguez won. Honestly, I do wish they would have put the title on her. I think they should have had her beat Stephanie Fakir early in the year, and then we could have had Raquel versus Liv at WrestleMania. I think that was the play. Raquel was getting really, really hot, and then nothing. And then she just went back to being a sidekick. Carmichael says, this is the best SmackDown has been in months because Boar Testatori is nowhere to be found. You know, Carmichael, I don't know if it's because of you or not, but like, I agree that Joe Tess, he is boring. He is boring. I'm not sure if I would have came to that conclusion without you every single week telling me that he's boring, but you win. I no longer like Joe Testatori. He's just too polished. I'm sure he'd be great for the announcer for figure skating, but for wrestling, I don't know. I like someone who will say things like shucky shucky quack quack. Andre Bryant says, if the Knicks win a championship, Danhausen is the biggest babyface in New York and the biggest heel in San Antonio. Yeah, you know, like, I hope they give him those tickets between, what's that guy, Charlemagne, whoever he is, and the people with the Kardashians, right? Give it to the Manhausens. Mike Hackenschmidt says, Carmelo Hayes needs new music. His music sounds like a kid trying to prove himself, and he's so past that now it's ridiculous. You need something menacing or something that gives you an established feel. Yeah, I don't think he needs menacing because he doesn't come off as menacing. He comes off as braggadocious. I do kind of like his music, to be honest with you, but at the same time, it isn't as memorable as someone like Trick Williams or even Kit Wilson's, and, you know, good theme song can make or break a character. So I have no problems with Carmelo Hayes' music, but at the same time, I'm never like, ooh, that's a banger. So what do you boys, what do you gals think? Should Carmelo Hayes get new music? Put that in the comment below. Shad22 says, the only good thing about the show was Solo's promo. He needs a real push. Solo Sikoa has been needing a real push for a year now. I would love for him to just go on his own and be a babyface. And he always cuts a really good promo if you let him. The thing is, he can do menacing, I guess, but he's just so much more better if you allow him to be a goofball. Even when he was fighting Oba Femi on Raw, he was kind of mocking Oba, and it was like really entertaining. Like, we should let the dude spread his wings. Dashy Negan says, no hot take from me. I was watching Summer Game Fest last night. I have no idea what Summer Game Fest is, but I don't watch fake sports. So, like, you know, I'm not saying they're not athletic. I'm not, like, Summerfest, I'm sure everybody's very athletic, but, like, yeah, I'll just keep it with WWE. Phantom TV says, hot take, Gunther gets too much TV time. I do know that a lot of people hate Gunther, and they're just like, I don't understand why you like this guy. So, I don't think he actually does get a lot of TV time. I come from an era of wrestling when the main champion and the villain that he was facing that week, they were throughout the entire show. But tonight, and almost every night, you only see Cody Rhodes one time. Whoever Cody's fighting, you only see him one time. Just be thankful that you didn't have Gunther back in the day, because you'd have seen him like 3 or 4 times throughout the entire show. But personally speaking, I like Gunther, so I don't care. I love AEW Wrestling says, I think Gunther just super sucks on SmackDown because he's acting like a big baby and not a killer like he was on Raw. Yeah, they've definitely kind of pulled him back. Like, now he's hiding behind lawyers. Now, Gunther wouldn't pretend to be a nice guy, and he would cheat if he had to, but at the same time, he would step up to you and laugh in your face. He wasn't going to cower behind lawyers. On top of that, I noticed last week he started making fun of Americans. Now, I don't care that he was making fun of Americans. That's what wrestlers do. However, Gunther has on record in interviews away from WWE said that he doesn't want to be a foreign heel that just makes fun of Americans. He's not a foreign heel. He's just a heel that happens to be foreign. So I don't know what happened. How did we forget how to write Gunther? Because they're doing things that are very out of character for him. Alfonso Passion says, I'm actually glad Dom won. We all thought Breakker was gonna. Yeah, we all did think Braun Breakker was gonna win. Here's a guy that they've told us multiple times he's going to be a WrestleMania main eventer. So at some point, I guess we all just figured they're going to have to start letting him look good and win matches. But yeah, I guess not tonight or the past 6 months. I do like Dominic Mysterio, so it was nice. But I feel bad for Braun Breakker, to tell you the truth, because that guy was he had so much going for him. And that's why I'm so afraid for Chad Gable, honestly, because if you look at where Braun Breakker was a year ago, 2 years ago, it's like he had all the momentum in the world, and all it takes is some bad storytelling. Say just that the mindset that, oh, he's young, we can wait. Oh, Chad Gable, he can wait another year or two. He can milk this good favor from the audience for 6 more months. No, you strike when the iron's hot. Could you imagine if Stone Cold Steve Austin beat Bret Hart at WrestleMania 13 and then Stone Cold Steve Austin just appeared in a backstage segment the next night on Raw? No, you can't imagine that. You just can't imagine that, because back in the day, they built on the momentum, but not today for some reason. It's my fault for thinking that. I'm the moron for thinking that. Teddy Boy Ward says, so Rhea and Charlotte got tattoos after Clash in Italy. I could see the bandages on her side. I have a few, and no, she shouldn't have been wrestling. Not a week after it hasn't been healed. Did they get tattoos? Did Rhea and Charlotte get matching tattoos? I must have missed that. But if that's the case, they should not be bragging about that. Why would they? That just kills any animosity. Let's go back to my Stone Cold analogy. Okay, could you imagine if Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Rock got matching tattoos? Come on. I know kayfabe's dead, but do we have to pee on the grave? Could we just let there be some semblance that they still don't kind of get along? Yeah, boy says, Solo deserves better than the MFTs and Bloodline lore ever since he's got called up to the main roster. Everything he's done has been involved, with the MFTs or Bloodline. I mean, if there was better stories, if they would have done the Wyatt story better, that was an 8-month feud that the high point was stealing a lantern. But at this point, yeah, get him away from the factions and let him just be his own man, an island unto himself. TTJC says, Braun was botching like crazy tonight. Honestly, everybody botches lately. It used to be such a big deal that if a wrestler botched something, because it was so rare. It was so rare. I can probably count 3 botches from WrestleMania 5 to WrestleMania 38. Like, for real, I don't remember ever seeing botches, but in the last, like, 5 years, it's just become a thing. It is more common nowadays to see a botch on Raw than it is to not see a botch, like the entire episode. And that's not me like, oh, these guys suck. You know, I'm out of shape. I get it. Like, I could not do better. Put me in the ring, I'll botch 100 times. But something has changed. Something has changed where every single person, from the highest person on the card to the lowest person, just botch. And it's insane. I worry about the wrestlers. Kid Wilkes says, too many stars are going to SmackDown for them to go back to 2 hours soon. Chad Gable and Finn Balor will be lost. I disagree. I think this idea that going from 3 hours to 2 hours is going to make people have less TV times, it's not. The fact is, WWE doesn't need to show us the outside of the arena 4 times throughout the show. They don't need to tell us about Club WWE all throughout the show. I don't need to waste 10 minutes on what happened on Monday Night Raw. They don't need to show us people walking into the building. They don't need to show us so many things. They waste and kill so much time. I think the Fatal 4-Way had 10 minutes of entrances. Going down to 2 hours, that is not the reason why people are going to get lost in the shuffle. You need to tighten up, make things go quicker, and give storylines and write stories for everybody. Shad22 says they keep spamming the same matches every week. Oh my God, yeah, they do. It's 50-50 booking. They just do 50-50 booking, and it doesn't ever really allow anyone to elevate. Figure out who you want. Figure out who you want to be the star. Carmelo Hayes or Ricky Saints. We don't need Carmelo wins this week, Ricky wins next week, then we do a tie, and then we let Carmelo win. If Carmelo is the guy that needs to win, then fine. Fine, let him win then. He doesn't need to lose 50% of the times to Ricky Saints. But if you write the story good enough, even in a loss, you can still be elevated. Trick Williams, Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn lost that feud, and look at where we are now. Trick won, he has the championship, but look where Sami is. He's literally in the main event scene, arguably in a higher spot than when he lost that feud. There was no 50-50 booking there. Or mask versus mask. Chad Gable definitely lost that match, and he looks stronger now coming out of it. So quit doing the same exact match every single week so that guy can win one week and then that guy can win the next. It doesn't help in the long run. Everybody just kind of stays the same. And instead of shooting up the roster, you just move an inch up the roster. And it's like, oh. All right, boys and girls, those are your hot takes for SmackDown. See you, bye.